Everyone, welcome to my live stream. It's Sunday morning here, and our local time is 5:28 a.m. It's another subscriber lesson, and as you might be aware, during this subscriber lesson, only my subscribed students can join. Non-subscribers are not able to join. So if you are interested to join, I'll suggest you better subscribe to my lesson or courses. Okay, it's very easy. You can see the sign up button at the bottom of this live stream. Just press that, then it will redirect you to subscription button, and you can join. You can make comments. You can talk to me. All right. So once again, guys, it's Sunday morning here, and it's about Ielts Lessons. My subscribers have requested that I discuss conditionals. So today, I'm going to highlight what is conditional, what types of conditionals are there, how we can make sentences meaningful, correct, and logical sentences. Okay, so here it goes. Once again, dear viewers. Okay. Before that, in the meantime, I can just listen to some for a few minutes BBC podcast. Then we'll come back to the conditionals.
English from bbclearningenglish.com.
Hello, this is 6 Minute English from BBC Learning English. I'm Neil.
And I'm Sam.
Have you seen my lottery ticket, Sam? I seem to have lost it somewhere.
Is this another one of your get-rich-quick schemes, Neil? People invent all kinds of ways to make a lot of money quickly and with little effort. Well, if you really want to get rich quick, maybe you should copy technology tycoon Elon Musk. Recently, he invested $1.5 billion in the cryptocurrency Bitcoin.
Bitcoin has made some people very rich very quickly, but as we're hearing in this program, it's not without its critics.
Creating Bitcoin, process known as mining, uses huge amounts of electricity, and green campaigners are now questioning Bitcoin's impact on global energy use.
But before we find out more, it's time for my quiz question. What year was Bitcoin first released? Was it A, 2009, B, 2015, or C, 2019?
I'll go for B, 2015.
Okay, we'll find out the answer later in the program.
In this program, we are going to talk about Bitcoin, the use of the virtual currency. It's all very well for billionaires like Elon Musk, but what about the ordinary average person? Is Bitcoin a good option for them?
Well, that's exactly what BBC World Service program Tech Tent wanted to find out, doing people in the street. Here's what one Bitcoin fan, Heather Delaney, had to say.
I invested in Bitcoin a number of years ago. With the initial investment of only around $5, it meant that my risk was essentially the cost of a cup of coffee and a pastry. And as somebody who's quite risk averse when it comes to investment, it did allow me to dip my toe into Bitcoin. Over time, I was able to invest at various points, as I really see Bitcoin as more of a long-term investment and part of my overall pension plan.
Heather describes herself as risk averse. She wants to avoid risks as much as possible.
By only investing $5, she was able to dip a toe into Bitcoin, try doing something slowly and carefully to test whether she liked it.
Over time, Heather's Bitcoin investment became part of her pension plan, a financial plan funded by your salary to save money for when you retire.
So everything seems to be working out for Heather.
But the recent buzz around Bitcoin has also highlighted another, less positive side of the story: Bitcoin's environmental footprint.
Mining Bitcoins, the complex process that creates new coins, uses a lot of electricity. Recent estimates show that Bitcoin has now overtaken the entire annual electricity use of Argentina.
Michelle Raux works at Cambridge University's Centre for Alternative Finance, which monitors Bitcoin's electrical consumption. Here he is in conversation with BBC World Service's Tech Tent.
Bitcoin consumes just a colossal amount of electricity, and now whether that electricity expenditure is really worth the benefits, I think that really depends on how you value Bitcoin itself. But just looking at the electricity consumption, I think we need to put things a bit into perspective. So on the one hand, if you compare it to a country like Argentina, it's just incredible and awe-inspiring. On the other hand, if you compare it to, for example, home appliances that are always on standby but not being used in the US alone, that consumes twice as much electricity on a yearly basis than the entire Bitcoin network.
Michelle thinks that to assess Bitcoin's energy use, we must put things into perspective, find the true objective value of something.
Comparing Bitcoin's energy use to a huge country like Argentina sounds monstrous. But looked at another way, Bitcoin only consumes half the electricity used by all US televisions and other home appliances left on standby, which means powered on and ready to work when needed.
So maybe the best get-rich-quick scheme is to save money on your electricity bills by turning off your TV, Neil.
Well, it's got to be easier than mining Bitcoins, which reminds me.
Of your quiz question, you asked what year Bitcoin was first released, 2009, 2015, or 2019? And I said B, 2015.
Which was the wrong answer, I'm afraid, Sam. It was first released in 2009.
So maybe we'd better keep buying lottery tickets. After all, it's a pretty good get-rich-quick scheme, a way to make a lot of money quickly.
Let's recap the other vocabulary now. Someone who is risk-averse doesn't like taking risks.
If you dip a toe into something, you test it out slowly and carefully to see how it feels.
A pension plan is a way of saving money for your retirement.
Putting things into perspective means assessing the real importance of something, often by comparing it to something similar.
Like comparing the energy use of Bitcoin with the energy used by electrical appliances left on standby, ready to be used.
And that's all we have time for.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
6 Minutes English from the BBC.
All right, Javier, that was the BBC English 6 minutes. So if you listen to a podcast, what happens? Basically, listening to any English podcast or videos or movies or any other related programs will help our brain catch the new sounds, and also it helps us to understand about the different kinds of expressions that we are not habituated before. So sometimes many of the learners think that is it important for us to have a pronunciation? Yes, it is. If you'd like to sound better, if you like to sound natural and sound accurate, it is important for us to choose what kind of pronunciation you're after. We have to bear in mind, the different kinds of pronunciation, especially there are mainly two at the moment: British IPA, International Phonetic Alphabets, and the American International Phonetic Alphabets. Though they are almost same, except some cases where the sounds are different, and where especially vowel sound, consonant sounds, and many other expressions. But as a responsible learner, or if you're a teacher, as a responsible teacher, it is important to be aware how it works. All right, so let's move on. Today's topic is conditionals. So let's share the page. Okay, so these are the explanation of conditionals. Making conditional sentences is an everyday part of native language. Okay, not your native language. And introducing them to English conversation can really improve level of communication. There are 4 conditions in total, and we will learn to use them gradually. Obviously, starting with the most basic ones, the zero, the first conditional, zero and first conditional, and after the second conditional and third conditional. But many grammarians say there is another one which is mixed conditionals. To have a general idea of how all these conditional work, we are going to discuss today. So what is a conditional sentence? The conditional is based on the word if. So we have to remember and bear in mind, if there is a word if, or if there is this word if is anywhere in the sentence, basically. But it can be also found that in many conditional sentences there is when and unless, and that is also, we should consider them to be conditional sentence. So as you can see from the definition, conditional means there should be a condition in making these sentences. And there are always 2 parts to a conditional sentence. One part beginning with if, or when, or unless. It could be when as well. Unless, to describe a possible situation, and the second part which describes the consequence. So we have to bear in mind there are 2 parts of a, not to a conditional, of a conditional sentence. Okay. So once again, a conditional sentence is based on the word if, when, unless, and there are always 2 parts of a conditional sentence, where one part beginning with if, when, unless, to describe a possible situation, and the second part which describes the consequence. And there are four types of there are four types of conditional sentences. If you remember the word there, the R sound is in between two vowels, and according to the pronunciation rule of British IPA, we must pronounce the R if it is in between two vowels. So there, so you have to be careful. And I can show from the examples from the Cambridge dictionary, which I follow, how it should be pronounced.
There.
Okay, and it's an adverb. So let's listen to the sound there. I'm sure, dear viewers, you can see that it is an adverb.
There.
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 Okay, you have to remember that there, according to the British IPA, we do not pronounce the R sound in this case. Okay, but according to the British American IPA,
There.
we must pronounce the R.
There.
All right, and if you remember, British English is non-rhotic, which means most of the cases R is not pronounced, except some situation. The words that start with R, and if the R is in between two vowels. Yeah, it is clear this R sound is in between two vowel E. Okay, so this is the explanation why it shouldn't be pronounced. Let's move on. So there are four types of conditional sentences. So it's the zero conditional, the first conditional, the second conditional, the third conditional, and some grammarians say that there is another one which is called the mixed conditional. So as you can see from the name, the mixed conditional is the combination or mixture of two different conditionals, and when it makes the meaningful sentence. All right, so let's move on. So today we'll discuss the zero conditional, and if there is time, possibly the first conditional. So zero conditional. So zero conditional is used to talk about facts, universal truths, data, or situation which are always true. So once again, if I paraphrase or simplify this sentence, it means that when we use zero conditional is dependent totally the real life situation, universal truth, or facts, or data, or situation that can't be changed. And the zero conditional is uses if again, or when, or sometimes I have also seen unless can be used as well, and must be followed by the simple present or imperative. Okay, JVS, once again, this is a subscriber lesson, and if you're interested to join, it's very easy and simple. If you see the sign up button at the bottom of the live stream, you have to click on it, and it will redirect you to the subscription page where you have to pay $10 from your account balance. So many learners ask, how can I get the $10? So your account must be connected to your bank, okay, or debit or credit card, or maybe PayPal account, or maybe Apple Pay or Google Pay, or maybe any other verified payment link. then with the $10, you can subscribe to my class or the lesson. And in return, you're going to get 8 lessons in a month. Each lesson is 1 hour. It is a time-based or time control lesson. It starts from 59 minutes, 59 seconds, but they give extra opportunities of 10 minutes, so that is the only advantage sometimes. All right. So when an hour is finished, the class shuts down automatically and saved to my account, so that the viewers, my subscribers, not the viewers, I'm sorry, I should be specify that it's my subscribers can watch it later by visiting to my account. It is only open for them, not for the public. Okay, so once again, the zero conditional uses if or when or unless, if or when or unless, and must be followed by the simple present or imperative sentence. And I'm sure we all know that what is simple present. Simple present or present indefinite is same. So, and the sentence structure is if, unless, when, subject present simple, subject present simple. We have to realize that there is a comma. Okay, and we must be careful about using the comma. This comma is very important. Comma, okay, because if you don't, comma is a kind of punctuation. Okay, if you don't use the comma correctly, if you don't use the punctuations correctly, the sentence always loses its meaning, or sometimes the sentence is meaningless or not relevant. Like yesterday, I read a post. It's a funny post though, and the example is, have you seen the dog bowl? Okay, I'm going to write it down so that you understand. I read this post yesterday. Have you? So one of my friends, I read it from the post like this. One of the person's friends has asked the person, "Hey, have you seen the dog bowl?" So bowl has two meaning. One is the bowl, the container where you can keep food or liquid or some other things. Another bowl is the bowl dancing. Okay, so bowl. So the bowl means in this case could be a container, round shaped container that, okay, to keep soup or liquid or food or drinks. Okay, and another bowl is bowl dancing. So the person understood that, oh, can a dog bowl? That means can the dog dance, bowl dance? But the original sentence was, have you seen the dog's bowl? It should be. Okay, that means the bowl they give food to the dog. I remember that it is important for us to use the punctuations correctly on the right place on the right time. So that is just an example. Let's just delete it. Okay, let's move if, unless, when, subject plus present simple, comma, subject plus present simple. So the first part is present simple and second part is present simple, but as it is a zero conditional, it must explain the, once again, universal truth, facts, data, real life situation. Okay, so let's make some let's give some examples. If you heat water For example, if you heat water to 100 degree, is it 100 degrees Celsius? I think it's 100 degree Fahrenheit. It boils. So remember that when the water starts boiling, when it reaches to 100 degree Fahrenheit, okay, it's simply if you heat water to 100 degree, it boils. Number one example. Number two, if you eat a lot, you put on weight, you become fatty. Let's make it bigger. So second example is if you eat a lot, you put on weight. If it doesn't rain for a long time, the earth gets very dry. Look, the example is the first one. When we heat water to, so if you just replace if with unless or when, it gives the same meaning. So unless you heat water to 100 degree, it doesn't boil. Look, we use unless in a negative sentences of a real life situation of zero conditional. Unless you heat water to 100 degrees, it doesn't boil. Let me write it for you so that it's easier. Let's copy this. It's better to copy rather than typing. Unless you heat water to 100 degree, it doesn't boil. Okay. Or when, if you see when you heat water to 100 degree, it boils. So look at these three examples with three different way of explaining. If you heat water to 100 degree, it boils. Unless you heat water to 100 degree, it doesn't boil. When you heat water to 100 degree, it boils. So the first one is positive sentence, conditional. Second one is negative. We use unless and negative sentences. In this case, unless you heat water to 100 degrees, it doesn't boil. When you heat water to 100 degree, it boils. So look at these three sentences that they have got almost same meaning, but the first one is in a positive way, second one is in a negative way, and the third one is also in a positive way. Okay, so this is one of the examples of zero conditional. Next one is if you eat a lot, you put on a weight. Okay, let's just change it again. So when you eat a lot, you put on weight. Then unless you eat a lot, you don't, because we're making negative, don't put on weight. Okay, this sound weight, W-I-G-H-T, and W-A-T, what's the difference?
Wait. Wait.
Basically, W-A-I-T and W-E-G-H-T, their phonetics sound is same. but depending on the context, we need to understand what it means. Wait. Hey, wait here for a moment. Oh, you're getting weight nowadays because you're eating too much. Okay, once again, this let's simplify this example. If you eat a lot, you put on weight. We're starting with if, and when you eat a lot, you put on weight. Unless you eat a lot, you don't put on weight. And with unless, we must make a negative sentence. Now, this sentence can be also written the other way around. And first example as well. Like the first example, we can write this way. Let's bring it here. Water boils if you heat it to 100 degree. We can also write like this, the other way around, but changing the words in the suitable place. So if you heat water to 100 degree, it boils. Let's take it there underneath. Water boils if you heat it to 100 degree. It can be also written like this. So if we write in the second way, just one important matter is that we don't use any comma in that case. So that is the noticeable thing. Unless you heat water to 100 degree, it doesn't boil. We can also rewrite this sentence this way again. So here it means water. So again, water doesn't boil unless you heat it to 100 degree. Okay. The next one is, when you heat water to 100 degree, it boils. Okay, so once again, so water boils when you heat it to 100 degree. So this sentences can be written like this. Once again, if you heat water to 100 degree, it boils. Water boils if you heat it to 100 degree. The only difference between these two sentences is that the punctuation, comma, remember, which is very important. If in the first sentence, we can observe that the comma is in the middle, but if we write the sentence the other way around, water boils if you heat it to 100 degrees, there is no comma. And now second examples, unless you heat water to 100 degree, it doesn't boil. So there is a comma, unless 100 degree, okay? Water doesn't boil unless you heat it to 100 degree. This is another way to write it. Okay, hi Ushai, welcome. Good morning. Okay. The third example, when you heat water to 100 degrees, it boils. So we are rewriting water boils when you heat it to 100 degrees. There is no comma again. So these are some examples. And the second one is, now, if you eat a lot, you put on weight. And definitely we can rephrase the sentence in it. You put weight if you eat a lot. Okay. The second example is, when you eat a lot, you put on weight. So you put on weight when you eat a lot. Again, we're rephrasing from the other way around. Unless you eat a lot, you don't put weight. We don't put on weight. So you don't put on weight unless you eat a lot. So these are some examples you can practice at home. So let me show more examples. Next one, if it doesn't rain for a long time, the earth gets very dry. Okay, look at this pattern. Now let's make it in a different way. Okay, it doesn't, unless it doesn't rain. Can you do it? Let me see. Unless it doesn't rain for a long time, the earth doesn't get dry. So let's make sentence like this. Unless it rains, the earth gets dry. Look, so unless it rains for a long time, the earth gets dry. That's a really meaningful sentence, which means that if it doesn't rain for a long time, the earth gets dry. And similarly, the earth gets dry if it doesn't rain for a long time. The earth gets dry unless it doesn't rain. Okay, so it should be same, it doesn't rain. So unless it doesn't rain for a long time, earth gets dry. The earth gets dry. Okay. Similarly, when it doesn't rain for a long time, the earth gets dry. So if, remember, when, unless, these are the words we should use in zero, all the conditionals, not only the zero, first, second, third, and mixed conditionals. Okay. So if we change this unless as a when it doesn't rain for a long time, that gets right. It has got the same meaning. So this is another example. Next one is, if you go out with your friends, we normally go to a restaurant. This is a real life situation. Okay. So let's change it. Let's change it according to our patterns that we have just learned. When we go out with friends, we normally go to a restaurant. Okay. Can you use unless in this case? Possibly, but we have to change the sentence in a different way. So unless we go out with the friends, we don't normally go to a restaurant. You see, it is meaningful. So let's change it. to negative sentence. Unless you go out with friends, we don't go normally. We normally do not or don't go to a restaurant. That could be a real life situation as well. Remember that it can be also rephrased in a different way. If you go out with friends, we normally go to a restaurant. We normally go to a restaurant if we go out with friends. Second sentence, when you go out with friends, we normally go to restaurants. We normally go to a restaurant when we go out with friends. The third one, unless we go out with friends, we normally don't go to a restaurant. We normally don't go to a restaurant unless we go out with friends. Look, these are the other examples. Is there any more example you think of? Yes. Look, there is one. If I'm tired, I go to bed. Remember, bed. That's similar sound. We need to be careful. Bad and bed. This is bed. B-E-D, the sound. Okay. Bed. So don't be mixed up with bad. And then your listener will understand something as if you don't pronounce this word correctly. Bad, which is not good, evil. Bed, where people sleep. Cot. Okay. We call that sometimes. What is a cot? If you can describe, like, it's a rectangular furniture that is made of wood or maybe steel, where people use for sleeping. Generally, it has got 4 legs. Bed. Okay. So remember that once again. Bad and bed. And e sound. Is sound important? Yes. In order to develop your English language, we need to know the basic, phonetics. Because I live in England, so I also teach sometimes basic phonetics along with the sounds for all of the learners. So don't say bad, this word, it's bad. Early to bed and early to rise makes someone healthy, wealthy, and wise. It's a non-voice TH, remember. So sounds are important for your explanation, for your speaking. So if I'm tired, I go to bed early. Now, I go to bed early if I'm tired. We can see the other round. And let's make more sentences. When I'm tired, I go to bed early. Okay, or the other round, I go to bed early when I'm tired. The next one, can you use unless? Yes, possibly. Let's see. Unless I am tired. So we have to change the meaning. I don't go to bed. I don't go to bed early. Early. Okay, remember that. In early, the R sound should be silent in British English. Early. Okay, so we got to be careful using the letter, the words that have got R sound in British English. If you remember, once again, I'm repeating, in British English, in most of the cases, we don't pronounce the R at all. Rather, we bring a vowel sound in that case. So if I'm tired, look at this sentence. Tired, R is not there. I go to bed early. Or I go to bed early if I'm tired. Next one, when I'm tired, I go to bed early. Or I go to bed early when I am tired. The third one, when you use unless, it should be a negative sentence. Unless I'm tired, I don't go to bed early. or the other around. I don't go to bed early unless I'm tired. Okay. Let me try to remember. Is there any other examples? Yes. Like if I'm late, they start dinner without me. This is a real life situation. It always happens, in many families. I'm just giving an example for me. If I'm late, they start dinner without me. So, oh, wait, is it right? Can you rephrase the sentence in a different way? Yes. They start dinner without me if I'm late. Number one. Or when I'm late, they start dinner without me. And again, they start dinner. Remember, start, there is R. We don't pronounce it. Start. And dinner, there is R, but dinner. Dinner. Remember that. R is at the end. And British IPA, we do not pronounce R in this case. So they start dinner without me when I'm late. And the third example, once again, if you use unless, how can you make a sensible sentence? Unless I'm late, they don't. So it should be negative in that case. They don't start dinner without me, which means that when I'm late, they start dinner. It is the other way around. They don't start dinner without me unless I'm late. So once again, dear viewers, today we are discussing zero conditional with the examples and how the three forms of the zero conditionals can be restated or paraphrased or rewritten or explained in a different ways. So it is important for us to know the conditional sentences for our speaking and for our writing, which are really helpful for your academic writing as well as in order to be a good speaker. We have to remember, we have to bear in mind that without practicing, sometimes it is confusing, I should say, for many of our learners to understand conditionals. And this lesson is only for subscriber. If you remember, my subscriber has requested that if I explain in the next few lessons conditionals, phrasal verbs, and present perfect. I explained yesterday present perfect, and we had a test as well, and we're going to have a test 2 today as well, So this is one of the examples of zero conditional. So once again, recapping, zero conditionals always deals with real life situation, universal facts, universal truths, data, situation, which are always true, and the sentence pattern if, when, with positive sentence, but we use unless with a negative sentence. Okay, and it can be always rephrased from the with if the if is the beginning, there should be a comma, but if the if is in the middle, there shouldn't be any comma. So we've given some more examples. So let's find out the test. Okay, so I'm going to share another page. Let me see if we finished explaining all the zero conditionals. Okay, next time we'll discuss first conditional. So let me share the test page. So the test page, I'm sure dear viewers, you can see it. Though you're not able to join me, but I believe that you can see Let me check something, guys. Sorry. All right. Okay, the test says, first question, when you press the button, the doorbell rings. I'm sure you have seen the doorbell in every house. There is a doorbell. So when you press the button, or if you press the button, the doorbell rings. Is it a zero conditional? What do you think, guys? Yes, it's a fact. If you press the button, the doorbell should ring generally. If the electricity is there, provided that if there is no electricity, then the doorbell is not going to ring. So we need to be careful. But it's based on the fact that there is electricity already. It is not applicable if there is no electricity. If there is no electricity, nothing will be functioning well. Your lift, your freezer or freeze, television, radio, broadband, Wi-Fi, computer, and many other electronic devices which are needed for our daily life. So electricity must be there. So let's see the situation once again. When you press the button at the door, the doorbell rings. Yes. So this is the zero conditional. Can you write the sentence in a different way? Yes. If you press the button, the doorbell rings. Yes, that is also zero conditional. Or the doorbell rings when you press the button. Or the doorbell rings if you press the button. And also, can you use unless with a negative sentence? Yes. Unless you press the button, the doorbell doesn't ring. So this is another fact. So the doorbell doesn't ring unless you press the button. Okay, so next one, look at the example. Where is it? I will give a lift if the weather is bad. Remember once again, now that sound bad came here, bad. I have to write the phonetics of the bad and bad so that you can understand the difference.
Bad.
Okay, let me give you the example in the comment section. Can you see the phonetic symbol? Bad, the diphthong. It's an adjective. Okay. Adjective. Bad. Adjective and bad. So remember the a and a sound. A sound and a sound. Bad a sound and bad e sound. If you ever practice, if you're from Asian countries, we practice sometimes sa re ga ma pa da ni sa. You know, sa re ga ma pa sa ni da pa re ga ma sa. These are the sounds, but these sounds are really important for building up your pronunciation. Whereas bad is a noun. So bad, diphthong, bad. So what is diphthong? In phonetics, diphthongs are combination of two different kinds of vowel sounds. You can see then bad, there is a and e sound together, bad and bad. So it is important for us, okay, to find out the distinction or the difference. Okay, so I'll give you a lift if the weather is bad. Is it a zero conditional? It could be a real life situation. If the weather is bad, I will give you a lift. You can restate it in a different way. Or if you use when the weather is bad, I will give you a lift. It is not zero conditional, guys. If you remember, the zero conditional requirement is that both of the sentences must be in present tense. So this is not zero conditional. Okay. Remember once again, dear viewers, in zero conditional, the first part of the sentence or the first clause, sometimes we call clause is the part of sentence, must be present indefinite or present simple. And the second part must be present indefinite or present simple too. So if you write like this, I will give you if the weather is bad, it is not zero conditional, it is first conditional, which we'll explain in our next lesson or next class. Okay. Next example, I'm sure you can see that. When you go to the park, take your ball. You see in both of the part is the present simple. So that may be zero condition. Let's analyze and explain. When you go to the park, is a real life situation. Take your ball. It could be football or cricket ball or any other ball. Ball. Remember that. This ball sound is also British IPA. The Americans don't say ball, they said ball, a little bit different way. Similarly, call, okay? And we can restate the sentence in a different way again. Take your ball when you go to the park. Or if you go to the park, take your ball. Take your ball if you go to the park. If you use unless, then it should be a negative sentence. Unless you go to the park, don't take your ball. Okay, that could be real life situation too. So don't take your ball unless you go to the park. So this is a zero conditional and very good example of zero conditional. And the next one is, where is it gone? If I had woken up earlier, I could have taken the bus. It doesn't fall in zero conditional. You can see that it's a past tense. Zero conditional never deals with past tense. So it's no way it is a zero conditional. The next example, when fish don't eat enough, they die. What do you think, guys? So there is a present tense in both sides, and it's a real life situation. So when fish don't eat enough, they die. This is zero conditional. Let's make the restatement. They die, or fish die when they don't eat enough. If you use if fish don't eat enough, they die. Fish die, they die if fish don't eat enough. And if you use unless, then it should be negative sentence once again. Unless fish don't eat enough, they die. Okay, fish die unless they don't eat enough. So these are the other ways we can make the condition zero conditionals. Let me see. When he buys chocolate, he buys me some too. Do you think that it's a zero conditional? Let's find out the requirements. Yeah, both of the part has, a present simple tense. Okay, number one, number two is a real life situation. So when he buys chocolate, he buys me some too. This is zero conditional. So let's make or restate a different way. He buys me some chocolates when he buys me some chocolates when he buys chocolate. So he buys me some chocolate when he goes to the shop. Say that is also possible. Another zero conditional. Or if he buys chocolate, he buys me some too. That is another way to say this sentence. All right, so that is a zero conditional. Now the last one in the test. If you write to me, I'll reply. What do you think, guys? Is it zero conditional? No way, because one is present tense, another is future, and that could be possibly could be first conditional. It is not zero conditional. Once again, we have to remember in zero conditional, both of the sentences should be present simple or present indefinite. Okay, so it is not zero conditional, the first conditional, which we will discuss later in another lesson. So that is all about zero conditional, dear viewers. I'm sure that if people who are watching from different sites, because this live stream has been shared through my Facebook Live as well as through my YouTube live channel, and some people are watching from there. Remember to practice whatever you learn Practice makes you confident. Practice gives you your positive minded attitude. Practice builds up the your mind set up in such a way that you can practice more. Sometimes we need motivation. Sometimes you need some inspiration from other people. It could be teacher, it could be a friend, it could be a movie, it could be a video, it could be anything else. Motivation is very important for our learning. Unless you motivate yourself, there is no way you can move forward. And also we have to remember that you need to enjoy whatever you learn. If you don't enjoy, your learning would be boring. You'll lose the interest very soon. So thank you very much, dear viewers, once again, who have joined from the different parts of the world through this Hallo app. Hallo app is a real life example of global, combination of different people. If you remember that, we have got 1.3 million members from more than 160 countries, and we've got more than 300 qualified teachers, and each teacher is amazing. They've got very high degrees as well as teacher training degree, which is really needed and important for teaching. So thank you very much, guys, once again. I hope to see you later. You take care and bye.
I like a Amazon. Oh my god.
Which one?
Uh, Atif Aslam maybe Pehli Dafa?
Okay, Asif Aslam. Oh, okay, I get
Hello and welcome everyone once again to another Ielts live stream, which is a subscriber lesson. Our local time is 6:50 a.m. Sunday morning. As you might be aware, it's a subscriber lesson. Only my subscribers are able to join. None but my subscribers are able to join. They can make comments. They can join me in the audio video chat and talk to me. Okay, so what do you learn from this IELTS lessons? Basically, we learn all the 4 skills of IELTS, like listening, reading, writing, and speaking. But sometimes if a student has some specific requirement, I try to also fulfill that. It's not only the speaking, reading, writing, and listening. It is also could be anything else that's related to grammar or the exam. So today my plan is to explain some reading techniques, and we're going to solve a passage, and I believe that it will be helpful for our learners as well. So once again, you viewers, you're watching the live stream from the UK, and our local time is 6:52 a.m. Sunday, which is the UK time or GMT, and it's 14th of November. Okay, so as usual, we're going to listen to a podcast, and after that, we're going to start our lesson. Okay, so bear me a moment. Okay, here we are. Let's start our first podcast of the lesson.
6-minute English from the BBC.
Hello, this is 6-minute English from BBC Learning English. I'm Neil.
And I'm Sam.
People collect all kinds of things for a hobby, from stamps and coins to comics and football stickers. Do you collect anything, Sam?
I used to have a big collection of Pokemon cards, but I have no idea where they are now.
Well, maybe you should start looking for them, because all kinds of collectibles, that's objects that people want to collect, are selling for big money on the internet. It's all part of a new tech craze called non-fungible tokens, or NFTs for short.
Non-fungible tokens?
Basically, NFTs are unique, one-of-a-kind items that can be bought and sold like any physical object, but only exist in the digital world. Tokens can be thought of as certificates of ownership for these virtual possessions.
Okay, I understand the token part, but what does non-fungible mean?
If something is fungible, it can be interchanged, like money, for example. With money, you can swap a £10 note for 2 £5 notes, and it will have the same value.
So something non-fungible cannot be interchanged with something else. Is that because it has special features that make it unique?
Exactly. Imagine something totally unique, like the Mona Lisa. You can take a photo of the painting or buy a copy of it. There will only ever be the one original painting.
I can see that the Mona Lisa is one of a kind and extremely valuable, but it's not for sale on the internet.
True, but lots of other things are, from signed celebrity artwork to virtual football cards. NFTs are like autographed photos. Collectors want something no one else has, even though there's nothing physical they actually own and keep.
And the value of NFTs is going up and up?
Massively. A digital sticker of French footballer Kylian Mbappe recently sold for £25,000, which reminds me of my quiz question, Sam. In June 2021, Sir Tim Berners-Lee sold the original source code he used to invent the World Wide Web as an NFT at a charity auction. The sale started at $1,000, but how much did the source code eventually sell for? Was it A, $5.4 thousand, B, $5.4 million, or C, $5.4 billion.
If you're asking me how much the internet sold for, I'd say C, $5.4 billion.
Okay, Sam, we'll find out later if that's right.
So Tim Berners-Lee famously never made any money from the World Wide Web, insisting that his invention should be free for everyone. But the world of NFTs is controversial, and not everyone thinks Sir Tim should be getting involved.
That's certainly the view of Shona Ghosh, technology editor at the Insider website, as she told BBC World Service programme Tech Tent.
I think there's a balance to be struck between exploring new technologies, and Sir Tim Berners-Lee is an amazing figure, but NFTs are Wild West. Not everything associated with NFTs are rogue, but these so-called digital collectibles are going for lots of money.
Internet NFTs are very new, and there are no rules controlling what can be sold and for how much. So Shona describes them as a Wild West.
The Wild West means a situation where people can do whatever they want because there are no laws or controls, like the early history of the western part of the United States.
She also calls some things about NFTs rogue, behaving differently from what's normal or expected, often in a way that causes damage.
Love them or hate them, there are strong opinions on both sides of the NFT debate, as Rory Catlin-Jones, presenter of the BBC World Service's Tech Tent, explains.
To some, NFTs are a brilliant innovation which has promised to put a value on those digital artifacts. To others, they're little more than a dubious pyramid scheme with a damaging impact on the environment because of the way the tokens are created.
Some people are suspicious of the large amounts of money collectors are willing to pay, comparing NFTs to pyramid schemes, business tricks or scams where money is obtained dishonestly.
But for others, NFTs are a legitimate and useful way to put a price on rare digital artifacts, items such as images, videos, and music that are produced and stored as electronic versions.
Items like, for example, the original source code for the internet. So how much money did Sir Tim Berners-Lee raise for charity when he sold it off, Neil?
In my quiz question, I asked Sam how much the NFT for the original internet source code sold for at auction.
And I said C, $5.4 billion.
You were wrong. In fact, it was less, $5.4 million, but still far too expensive for me to collect.
Now I'm wondering how much my Pokemon card collection would sell for. If only I could find it.
Well, while you look for your collection, Sam, let's recap the vocabulary from this program all about NFTs, which are digital artifacts or items that are produced and stored as electronic versions.
NFTs are virtual collectibles, desirable objects that people search for and collect.
And they are non-fungible, meaning they have special and unique characteristics that cannot be interchanged with anything else.
If something is rogue, it behaves in a different way from what's normal or expected, often causing damage.
The Wild West describes a chaotic situation without laws or controls.
And finally, a pyramid scheme is a business scam where money is gained dishonestly.
If you'd like to know more about non-fungible tokens, Bitcoin, and other trending internet topics, there's plenty to find on the BBC website.
And for more interesting conversation and useful vocabulary, remember to join us again soon here at 6 Minute English. Bye for now.
Bye.
6 Minute English from bbclearningenglish.com.
Okay, dear viewers, that was 6 minutes English from the BBC Learning English. And I always try to bring one podcast before we start the lesson every weekend. So remember, by listening to any podcast will help you understand the different kinds of accents and pronunciation. As well as from this BBC Learning podcast, we know different fact, different information, as well as vocabulary, as long as we can learn and apply them in a real life situation. Okay, so dear viewers, if you see the heart shape symbol, do not forget to touch it once to support me. It doesn't cost you anything. Rather than touching it once, remember that your every support, every cooperation, every assistance is so important. I really feel great when you guys are here and support me. All right, so let's move on to our Ielts reading today. We're going to solve this reading test. Okay, so we'll read slowly because it's a quite bigger paragraph. All right. So, dear viewers, if you remember that in IELTS exam, there are 4 parts: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And also, you are aware that IELTS has 2 types of exam: IELTS academic and IELTS general. From the word academic, you can easily understand that it's only for the academic purpose, or maybe for registration in your profession, like doctors or pharmacists or nurses, many other professions, like if you're maybe a lawyer. And many other professions in the UK and many Western countries, you need to have a registration before you practice. In this case, you also need to have the academic IELTS exams, your required score. And in the UK, and for the healthcare sectors, generally you need the IELTS 7.5 in academic to start as a practitioner, whether you're a doctor, if you're in healthcare profession, or a nurse or pharmacist or any other equivalent position. Okay, and general IELTS is needed for immigration if you like to go to English speaking countries like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, USA, or the UK or some European countries. Right, so these are the requirements for you to get the score in order to immigrate or study in a country. So once again, in both of the IELTS exam, listening and speaking are same. So there is no difference at all, the listening part and the speaking part. And the only difference is in reading part and writing part. So in academic reading, there will be 5, I'm sorry, not academic reading, not 5, 3. There will be 3 big paragraphs, and there will be different kinds of questions where learners have the opportunity to demonstrate their understanding and answer it correctly. And as you might be aware, it is an hour and there will be 40 questions, and there are different types of questions. I'm sure you already know that true, false, not given, fill in the blanks, main summary of a paragraph, matching, and write more than 3 words in the fill in the blanks. Okay, we need to follow the instruction. These are the most types of reading paragraphs, and it is always multiple choice questions. So remember to answer all of them, even if you're confused, if you don't know what is the exact answer, don't leave the blank answer. And for the reading, generally there are 3 types of techniques we use. We're going to explain in a moment. And the writing part, once again, for the academic, there would be writing task 1 and writing task 2. And also in the same general writing task 1 and writing task 2. So both of the writing task 1, you have got 20 minutes and you have to write at least 150 words, which means literally in every 1 minute you have to write 8 words. So you need to practice at home, guys, before you appear at the final exam of IELTS. If you don't practice 8 words minimum in 1 minute, then it will be difficult for you, because literally all the examiners count the words, how many words you have written in your exam. And if it doesn't fulfill that, you haven't written 150 words, then you're not going to get good marks, because that's the criteria, 150 words. Okay, and the task 2, you'll get 40 minutes and you have to write 250 words. In this case, you have to write 7 words in 1 minute minimum. Okay, so also it is a matter of practice. If you don't practice writing, possibly you'll not be able to write minimum 250 words in 40 minutes. So when you're practicing at home, when you sit for the mock test or sample test, remember to take and keep a watch with you so that you know the time. And time is an important factor for all of us. It's not only for the IELTS exam. You have to work on time, you have to wake on time, you have to study on time, you have to eat on time, you have to do everything on time. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to be a successful person in the life. Success doesn't come automatically. It comes by your hard work, by your efforts, consistency, perseverance, and many other factors related to it. Okay, so today, as a part of our IELTS exam, I've chosen, to do a simple reading paragraph. We'll read it and we'll answer it from there. So once again, dear viewers, if you're interested to join in reading and participating, you have to subscribe to me. It's very easy and simple. If you see the sign up button, just touch it once. But provided that you have to have at least $10 in your account, because it is $10 for the whole month, 8 lessons. So each lesson is literally only $1.25, less than buying a cigarette or coffee or tea or many other drinks in many Western countries. Okay, and once again, people who have joined me for the first time, thanks for joining. I know that you are there, but you're not you're not able to make any comments. You can't come here because you're not my subscriber. So if you like to come here once again, sign up button. If you see the sign up button, click on it. Then you can come here, you can talk to me. All right, so let's move on. In reading part of IELTS exam, basically there are 3 types of techniques, and I'm sure all of our IELTS candidates are so intelligent and smart and knowledgeable, they know these techniques. The number 1 technique is transitional methods. So what is a transitional method, guys? So transitional method is a conventional method or general method where the questions and the paragraph lines are related. A big example is that, say, if there is a paragraph of 20 lines and there are 5 questions, and in IELTS exam, when you see the real life paragraph, you'll find that the numbers are lined like 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, something like that. This number is important for your answer, for your questions as well. So in transitional method, what happens, how the questions and answers are set. As I was giving the example of 20 lines, and you have found that there are 5 questions, 20 lines, 5 questions. So divide the 20 by 5, so you get the answer 4, which means the first question must be from the first 4 line, and the second question must be from the second 4 line, which is line 5 to 8, and the third question must be from the third 4th line, which is 9 to 12, and the fourth question should be fourth 4 line, which is I should say 13 to 16, and the last question, which is question number 5, should be the last 4 lines, which is 17 to 20. Now this is the most common transitional or conventional method for reading test. And there is scanning technique. So what is a scanning technique? In order to follow this technique, we have to read the questions first, and from the questions you can sometimes guess what we are looking for. Like in the question there will be signal word, like maybe year or time or a day or a person's name or maybe any other incident. So from the question and from the signal word, you read the whole page quickly, scan it the way we're scanning any paper or any photograph. Scan quickly by your eyes, then underline those, okay, the names or the time or the year or any other related information. Okay, this is called scanning techniques. And skimming technique is that, skim means in a gist or summary or synopsis, or sometimes you can say headlines. This headline choosing is very difficult and challenging for many of our learners. So what you have to do, you have to read the paragraph and you have to just understand what the paragraph says. You have to bear in mind that in every IELTS exam, in the reading part, you're going to get new vocabulary. Do not expect that you will be able to know all the meaning, because sometimes they bring some new words for the learners so that they don't understand. But I believe that from the context of the paragraph, from the explanation or the description, possibly you'll be able to understand the meaning of the new word, though it's not possible for you to understand individually, but you can understand in summary wise. Okay, so these are some basic explanations. So let's move on the reading test today. And as you can see, I'm going to number the lines so that you can understand well. So it's a question, this is line number 1. All right. So I'm giving my lines in my own way, guys, as you know, because I have made the fonts bigger, so line would be more as it may be in the real life exam. So 1, 2, so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm just giving numbers for your understanding. In the real life exam, you'll see these numbers beside the lines, either at the beginning of the sentence or possibly at the end. So IELTS reading test. For over 1,000 years, Arab traders have been bringing Islamic culture, including tea drinking, to northern and West Africa. Basically, it should be north, not northern. If you use northern, then you should Northern Africa, North Africa. And West Africa. Make it capital. And the techniques of tea preparation have been adopted. Some people are watching from the Facebook Live as well as the YouTube channel. Welcome, dear viewers. Once again, so for over the thousands of years, Arab traders have been bringing Islamic culture, including tea drinking, to Northern and West Africa. So techniques of tea preparation have been adopted. In West Africa, in West African countries such as Senegal and the Gambia, it is fashionable for young men, this is another confusing, M and man, M-E and men.
Men.
This is man, okay, M-A-N. How about man?
Man.
Man, okay, it's a diphthong again. So we got to be careful when you're pronouncing, is it singular or plural? So I'm going to write in the comment section so that you know. So man, you can see this is a diphthong. Man.
Man.
Man. Diphthong should be a stressed word. Man, but men. That is tiny difference.
Men.
So first one is with the diphthong, as you can see, A and E together in the phonetic symbol man and men. Remember ma an, ma an, man and men. Okay, so let's move on. In West African countries such as Senegal and the Gambia, noticeable before the country Gambia we use the, and I don't know the reason. Let me find out why have you used the before Gambia. Okay, I'm just going to read the history of Gambia. Once again, guys, why you have used the before Gambia. Can you see the Gambia? Okay. The Gambia is officially the Republic of the Gambia. It's a country in West Africa. It is the smallest country within mainland Africa and surrounded by Senegal. Okay, which means that once upon a time they are the part of Senegal, except for its western coast and Atlantic Ocean. The Gambia is situated on both sides of the lower reaches of the Gambia River, the nation's namesake, which flows through the center of the Gambia and empties into the Atlantic Ocean. It has an area of 10,618 square kilometers with a population of 1857 on April 2013. Banjul is the capital. All right, so once upon a time it was French colony, but later it was renamed by its river name Gambia. Okay, let's move on. So, such as Senegal and the Gambia, it is fashionable for young men, remember man with a sound, diphthong man and men. It is fashionable for young men to gather in small groups to brew Chinese. Let me remove this 10 number. Chinese gunpowder tea. Wow, what is the Chinese gunpowder tea? I don't know either. The tea is boiled with large amounts of sugar for a long time. With a large amount of sugar for a long time. Okay, let's read it one more time. For over 1,000 years, Arab traders have been bringing Islamic culture, including tea drinking, to northern and West Africa. Techniques of tea preparation have been adopted. So what does the adapt mean? Adapt means they have taken those and techniques from them, from these Arab people. So in West African countries such as Senegal and the Gambia, it is fashionable for young men to gather in small groups to brew Chinese gunpowder tea. So a special type of tea, as you can see, the name is Chinese gunpowder tea. The tea is boiled with a large amount of sugar for a long time. Tea drinking in India remains an important part of daily life. Now they're explaining. First, they've explained, the African continent. Now it's going to the Asian continent, especially India. Tea drinking in India remains an important part of daily life. their tea, their, not their tea, sorry, their tea made entirely with milk is popular. Chai, C-H-I. Look at the spelling. Yes, in Hindi language, they call it chai. Chai is made by boiling milk and adding tea, sugar, and some spices. This form of tea making has crossed the Indian Ocean. Is also popular in East Africa, where tea is considered best when it is either very milky or made with water only. Curiously, this milk formula has been carried over to the preparation of instant coffee, which is served in cafes, either black or sprinkle. Okay, we missed an S. I've just added curiously. This milk formula has been carried over to the preparation of instant coffee, which is served in cafes as either black or sprinkle on a cup of hot milk. I remember that this OF sound is OB. OF is off. Very often, sometimes we are confused with these two words. Off, ob. O double S is off, OF is ob. Okay, so milk formula has been carried curiously. This milk formula has been carried over to the preparation of instant coffee, which is served in cafes as either black or sprinkled on a cup of hot milk. Now, next paragraph they're describing in Britain. In Britain, coffee drinking, particularly in the informal atmosphere, coffee shops is currently in vogue. So, which means they don't see it anymore in a formal coffee shop. Yet, the convention of afternoon tea lingers. So, it is a conventional or tradition that in the afternoon they have tea. At conferences, it remains common practice to serve coffee in the morning and tea in the afternoon. Okay, look, so they serve coffee in the morning and tea in the afternoon in Britain. Now, contemporary China too remains true to its long tradition. Now they're describing Chinese tradition. Delegates at conference and seminars are served tea in a cups with lids to keep the infusion hot. The cups are topped up with throughout the proceedings. There are as yet no signs of coffee on such occasions. So in China, they don't have coffee. Traditionally, they have tea. So cups with lids to keep the infusion hot. The cups are topped up throughout the proceedings. There are as yet no signs of coffee on such occasions. So they don't have coffee in China. So these are the whole paragraphs. It's very tiny. It looks like the paragraphs from general general test, because in general test, um, the reading paragraphs are smaller comparatively and easier, and you can easily finish it quickly before the 40 minutes. 60 minutes, 40 questions. So now this part, it says write no more than 3 words to each sentence. So you have to write at least 3 words. No more than 3 words means maximum 3 words. I'm sorry, not at least. Sometimes it is very important for an IELTS candidate to understand the instruction. If it says write no more than 3 words, do not write more than 3 words. What would happen if you write it? You're not going to get mark. So there is no need to write more than 3 words. So you have to write at least 3 words. Dear viewers, if you give me a second, I need to get my this laptop charger. The battery is going down quickly. I'm back, dear viewers. Okay. All right. So if you see the instruction, it says write no more than 3 words to each sentence. This is another confusing sound, each. Remember, how do you pronounce the sound each? In each, it's a bit longer sound. Let me find out.
each,
So what is each? It could be a pronoun or it could be a determiner. I'm writing it, guys. Okay. So it may be pronoun or determiner depending on the use. And you can see after I, there is double dot. If you ever see double dot in the phonetic symbol, it means the sound is a bit longer. Each. When you're making the sound longer, or mouse are becoming like a cheese. Similarly, okay. So each and each. ITCH.
each,
Each. Each and each. We've got to be careful about these 2 words. So it's a long sound and short sound. So each is verb. Each intransitive verb looks like to me. So each is verb. You can each, US each. But each pronoun determiner. You see longer sound. Once again, if you ever find 2 dots after any phonemes, which means that the sound should be a bit longer. And how we make the sound longer? By retaining the sound. Like each, we have written each. So each. So write no more than 3 words to each sentences, not each. Remember, if you say each, it will like this itching, allergic reaction. So merchants from Arabia, not Arab. What have I written? So if you remember, there are 6 questions. And how many lines are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 2. So it's around, say, 40 lines. So if you remember, according to the transitional methods, how we are going to get the answer, we have to divide the 40 by 6. And we get the answer is 7, 6 and more than 6, okay? Because 40 is not divisible by 6, but 7. 42 is divisible. So which means that for the first question, it should be the first 7 lines, the answer. So let's move to the paragraph once again quickly. It's about tea drinking. For over 1,000 years, Arab traders have been bringing Islamic culture, including tea drinking, to Northern and West Africa. Techniques of tea preparation have been adopted. So that's the first line. You can see for over 1,000 years, Arab traders have been bringing Islamic culture, including tea drinking, to Northern and West Africa. So let's go back to the question. The question is, merchants from Arabia have been spreading. What does the spread mean here? Which means that the Arab merchants are going different parts of the world. So what do you understand by this? What spreading means? For how long they were trading. So it's over 1,000 years. So the ideal answer would be, in this case, Arab merchants of Arabia have been spreading over 1,000 years. Over 1,000 years. Excuse me. So you can see over 1,000 years, there are 3 words. So you have to fill up with 3 words. Okay, no more than 3 words. Second question, it was trend among youngsters to produce. If you remember, there are 42 lines and 6 questions. So second question must be from the second 7 lines or 6 lines. So let's read quickly. Techniques of tea preparation have been adopted in West African countries such as Senegal and the Gambia. It is fashionable for young men. Look, the answer is the young men. Young men to gather in small groups to brew Chinese gunpowder tea. The tea is boiled with a large amount of sugar for a long time. Okay. 4.
4.
So it's a longer sound again. 4. Remember, in British IPA we do not pronounce R in this case, but 4.
4.
American IPA R is there. So you need to be careful, All right. So it is fashionable, like in West African countries such as Senegal and the Gambia. It is fashionable for young men to gather in small groups to brew Chinese gunpowder tea. Okay, so what was the question? Let's go back. It was trend among youngsters to produce. What do they produce, youngsters? To brew, to produce. Look, brew and produce means same. To brew means they produce Chinese gunpowder tea. You can see that Chinese is one word, gunpowder is one word, and tea is another word. So we have to choose, in this case, Chinese gunpowder tea. And remember that in Chinese, the word, we have to write the capital C. Capitalization is important. So for every word, when we start with a sentence, the first word must be capital letter. And also letter I is always capital, guys. Though I've seen many people do not follow this rule, but it's better for you. If you'd like to get good marks in Ielts exam or any other academic exam, you must write it correctly. Okay. So it was a trend among youngsters to produce Chinese gunpowder tea. That is the answer. Okay, 3 words. Remember, we don't need to use more than 3. Gunpowder is 1 word. Chinese is 1 word. So let's underline our answer. So Chinese gunpowder tea. Okay, next sentence. In India and East Africa, tea is tasted amazing if it is milky or has a dash. Okay, so the question is in India and East Africa. Let's go back. The tea is boiled with a large amount of sugar for a long time. Okay, now they're describing the next part. The drinking in India remains an important part of daily life. So tea drinking in India remains an important part of the daily life. There, tea made entirely with milk is popular. Chai, C-H-A-I spelling, is made by boiling milk and adding tea, sugar, and some spices. This form of tea making has crossed the Indian Ocean and is also popular in East Africa. So remember, the question was based in India and East Africa. Let's read a little bit more. Where tea is considered best when it is either very milky or made with water only. Curiously, this milk formula has been carried over to the preparation of instant coffee, which is served in cafes as either black or sprinkled on a cup of hot milk. Okay, let's go back to the question again. So in India and East Africa, tea tasted amazing if it is milky. We got the first answer. Or if it is milky, what is the other part? Okay, tea making crossing sugar, boiling milk, adding tea, sugar, or some spices. Okay, curiously, small formula has carried to the preparation of instant coffee. So, yeah, the answer is there. So, Indian Ocean, boiling milk or milky, or tea, sugar, and some spices. So, this question number 3 would be: in India and East Africa, tea tasted amazing if it is milky or has sugar. 3 words we have to write. So now another question is, can you write less than 3 words? Yes. Remember that sometimes the one word may be enough for your answer, but do not cross more than 3 words. That's what they said. Do not write more than 3 words. So in India and East Africa, tea tasted amazing if it is milky or has sugar or some spices. Okay. Let me see. Milk is popular. Chai is made by boiling milk and adding tea, sugar, and some spices. So tea, sugar, and some spices. So we have to choose 3 words from there. So if yes, sugar. Okay, sugar is a word. Guys, so sugar, some spices. In some spices, there are 2 words. So there are 3 words. So that is really cool. So that's the answer. In India and East Africa, tea tastes amazing. Sorry, not tasted amazing. My apology. If it is milky or has sugar, it is not underlined. Has sugar, some spices. So there are 3 words: sugar, 1 word, some spices, another word. So once again, dear viewers, if you're interested to join my lesson and talk to me and participate in this test, you need to subscribe from the sign up button. If you watch the sign up button at the bottom of this, display either from the mobile or the laptop, you have to have $10. So with 1 month, and that is the Hallo rule and policy. Many times, many students ask, well, why are you charging $10? That's the rule. It's the minimum charge here. But if you go to any other platform, their charge is high. If you compare the cost of Hallo and other, platform, other standard platform, I should say, there are many other platforms where you can learn freely, but you don't learn anything from there because they don't have, competent and qualified teachers. And we have got competent and qualified native teachers from different countries. Okay. So it's better for you if you like to learn and develop your spoken English, grammar, IELTS strategies, or you have plans to sit for the IELTS exam to get a good score. Just subscribe to any teacher. This $10 is nothing for you. And if you share the fact, in the UK, there are many English learning schools for the for the international students, not national students. They don't need to, natives do not need to learn English. for the international students, where you have to spend a huge amount of money. And you wouldn't believe that. I checked one school in central London that is accredited through the British Council. They offer 15 hours every week, which is 5 days, 3 hours a week. And for every month, they offer 60 hours and you have to pay £600. So literally it's £10 for an hour. Whereas we teach in a lump sum money, $10 in a month, which is nothing if you compare 8 lessons. $1 is 1.25. One lesson is $1.25, which is less than a cigarette or coffee or tea. Okay, so there is one word I'm going to explain, tastes. Remember, T as to test and T as to taste. We got to be careful. Test.
Test.
Okay, like, do you have a test today? I don't have a test today. So I'm going to share this as well. Test. It's a noun. Test. All right, like test of English as a foreign language, TOEFL. Okay, how was your COVID test? Was it positive or negative? Another way to make sentences. Life is a big test. You need to control it very carefully and logically and very intelligible way, okay? Next test is TAST, taste. Remember, this is taste and this is test.
Taste.
So it is taste, but that is test. So that is also noun. Look at the phonetics difference. So this is test and this is taste, a longer sound. Taste. Oh, how does the food taste? It doesn't taste good. It's awful. It's very bad taste. Very bad taste. Look, bad taste. Bad, bad. Bat. Badminton. Cricket bat. Batman. So these are the some sounds once again. Taste. So in India and East Africa, tea tastes amazing if it's milky and or has sugar or some spices. That's really amazing. Question number 4 now. So question number 4 is, in the UK, taking coffee in dash is a fashion. So let's read. Where is the UK? In Britain. Remember that Britain or Great Britain or the United Kingdom, they're the same country. Some people might think that, oh, there is not mentioned UK. Remember that Britain, Great Britain, United Kingdom, UK, they are same countries. Only the names are different. Like in India, this English name, but in their own language it's called Bharat. Similarly, some countries may have their own name in their own language, but in English that's a different name. But for the Great Britain or the United Kingdom, Great Britain is mostly known as politically, but United Kingdom is mostly known geographically. They're same, and very often I share the story. How many countries are there in Great Britain or the UK? And I had a test, and only few people could answer it correctly. So in the United Kingdom or the Great Britain, there are 4 countries. One is England, second is Scotland, third is Wales, and the fourth is the Northern Ireland. Okay, and we have to remember that English is our main language here in these 4 countries. Though they may have different accent, but that's not the considerable point. Okay, so now in Britain, coffee drinking, particularly in the informal atmosphere. Oops, it's a bit difficult word for me again. Atmosphere. Atmosphere. Let me pronounce it one more time.
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere. There is a schwa sound. That's atmosphere, not atmosphere. Atmosphere. 1, 2, 3 schwa sound. Atmosphere. Atmosphere. So in Britain, coffee drinking, particularly in informal atmosphere of coffee shops, is currently in vogue. What does vogue mean here, guys? Not valid, is it? Vogue.
Vogue.
It is vogue, not vogue. My apologies. I pronounced wrongly as well. Vogue.
Vogue.
Vogue means a fashion or general liking, especially one that is temporary. Okay, so it's a temporary fashion or temporary liking. Vogue. So in Britain, once again, coffee drinking, in particular in the informal atmosphere of coffee shops, is currently in vogue, which means people like it. It's a fashion. Yeah, yet the convention of afternoon tea lingers. Okay, if you just correlate these sentences to the previous lines, in Britain, people like drinking informal atmosphere is a very favorable thing. Okay, like a fashionable thing. But yet this convention of afternoon tea lingers. So in the morning they drink coffee, but they like afternoon tea. At conferences, it remains common practice to serve coffee in the morning and tea in the afternoon. Contemporary China too remains true to its long tradition. Delegates at conferences, where are we? And seminars are served tea in cups with lids to keep the infusion hot. The cups are topped up throughout the proceedings. There are not as yet any signs of coffee on such occasion. Okay. So in the UK, taking coffee in dash is a fashion. So what is the fashion again? Let me read it. So in Britain, coffee drinking, particularly in the informal atmosphere. So informal atmosphere. So in the UK, taking coffee in informal atmosphere is a fashion. So let's write it. Informal. Okay, so if you see, let me underline it. So in the UK, taking coffee in informal atmosphere is a fashion. So that is the 3 word. Informal atmosphere. Great. All right. Number 5, dash are offered tea cups with lids. So what is offered with cups with lids? Okay, at conference, it remains common practice to serve coffee in the morning and tea in the afternoon. Contemporary China, now they're talking about China, too remains true to its long tradition. Delegates at conferences and seminars are served tea in the cups with lids. Okay, so delegates of conference seminars are served tea in cups with lids to keep the infusion hot. So are offered teacups with lids. Dash are offered. So what are offered teacups? So it is they are talking about contemporary China. So contemporary China too remains true to its long tradition. Delegates at conference seminars are served tea in cups with lids to keep the infusion hot. Okay, so cups. Let me go to the question. Dash are offered. So teacups. So delegates in China. So it should be right like this. In China, delegates are offered. So 3 words. Look, it is completing and fulfilling 3 words. So in China, delegates are offered teacups with lids. So that really fulfilled the 3 words. In China, delegates are offered teacups with lids and add 6 dash more than China. Delegates are served in teacups. The cups are topped up throughout the proceedings. There are as yet no signs of coffee on such occasions. So they don't take coffee in this kind of contemporary China. So number 6, question number, modern China, it leads at conferences and seminars, right? If you remember, it says conferences remains common practice to serve coffee in the morning and in the afternoon. Remains to long tradition, delegates of conference and seminars. Okay, so at conference should be first. And is another word, and seminars another word. So 3 words are written here. 3 words are written here. Okay, so in China, delegates are offered teacups with lids at conference and seminars. In China, okay, so it is contradicting. So first you have written China, again the China. So we have to change the question number 5. Let's move on. We don't have much time, 5 minutes already. We can finish it before the 5 minutes. So contemporary China too remains true to its long tradition. Delegates and conference and seminars serve teacups with lids to keep the infusion hot. Okay. So if you say in China, delegates are offered teacups. Let me read one more time. In contemporary China too remains true to its long tradition. Delegates at conference sample are of served teacups with lids. Yes, that is the hint. With lids. Teacups with lids. So teacups with lids is there. Teacups with lids to keep the infusion of delegates at conferences. and seminars. So it should be so 1 should be fine. Delegates are offered teacups with leads and conferences, seminars. Yes, though it has written 3 words, but I think if you choose only the delegates, this word is enough. It will fulfill. Delegates at conferences and seminars are served to tea in cups with leads to keep the infusion hot. So number 6. 5. Delegates are offered teacups with leads at conferences and seminars in modern China. Okay, so that's really cool, guys. So remember, this is the way we practically solve any IELTS reading. Okay, and it is always important for us, in order to develop your reading speed, you have to read a lot. You have to have the desire, or you have to have the strong intention to read quickly. So read different kinds of topics. It's not only the academic topics, it could be any topics. It could be science, it could be arts, it could be commerce, or maybe it could be business. So the best way to develop your reading is reading more every day. So choose a wider variety of topics, because in IELTS exam, we never know what kind of topics or what kind of paragraph you're going to read in the real test, which is why many a times many learners are students come to my live stream and ask, teacher, how can I get good score in reading part? So remember that by reading a lot, reading more is the only way you can develop your reading speed, reading skill, as well as your vocabs. Remember, vocabs, the vocabulary are very important. If you don't study well, possibly in the exam or real life situation, when you're having conversation, it will be difficult for you to participate. Okay, and thank you very much, guys, for joining. My subscribers are absent today in both of the lessons because they're on holiday, but still I have to take the lesson because they're going to watch it later. It will be recorded in my account and only they can watch it. Non-subscribers are not also able to watch any of my recorded video, as long as you subscribe to the specific lesson. Remember, if your subscription is needed to participate here. Thank you very much, guys, for joining. You take care and bye.